Hey, Mark. We're just waiting another couple of minutes, so see if any more warrant committee members arrive, Mark.
No problem.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve. Okay.
Hi, Robin.
Hi, Robin.
Cam.
Just giving laggard members another minute or two, and then we'll get going.
Hey, can you give me access to the drive?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we can get going now. We've got Steve and Jerry have arrived. Robin, you should have access to the drive now.
Thank you, Cam.
Hi, Jerry.
Yeah, Cam. Happy New Year.
Same to you. So I think Melissa is the only member not present, but knowing her busy schedule, we'll get going anyway. So I guess I should call the meeting to order. This meeting of the Dover Warrant Committee is being conducted remotely in accordance with the temporary provisions of the open meeting law. We are convening via video conference using the Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note this meeting is being recorded, so take caution with what you show on screen as others may be able to see it. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. To open the meeting, can I get a roll call of attendance? Woody Rice.
Present.
Peter Smith.
Present.
Jerry Chen.
Present.
Marty Howard.
Present.
Sarah Kadena Kinney.
Here.
Janet McCormick. Janet's not here either. And Steve.
Present.
Okay. So Melissa and Janet are yet to join. And Melissa's just joined.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I
Are you present, Melissa?
I am present. I couldn't get it to turn on and realized I hadn't acknowledged the recording. So sorry about that. I'm here.
No problem. I'm glad you could make it. Um, okay, I guess the first order of business is, do we have any public comments? Hearing none, I'll move on to the acceptance of minutes from last meeting. Does anybody have any issues with Peter's minutes? Okay, then do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
I move that the minutes of December 13th be approved.
Second.
Peter, and seconded by Woody. Thank you. So all those in favor? I think we can just do a common raise of the hand, can't we? That way it'll be easier and quicker. Thank you. Okay, so Melissa Sarah, did you vote? Or did you abstain?
Sustained as I didn't attend the last meeting, sadly, couldn't due to a conflict, so.
That's okay, no problem. Just wanted to be sure. Okay. Now let's move on to the order of business. Oh, the first thing that I do need to say is that Michael Blanchard reached out to me late this afternoon to say, unfortunately, he was surprised to discover he had conflicting meetings for tonight, and so he wouldn't be able to come. And on top of that, they haven't yet completed the operating budget for the Board of Selectmen yet, and that's going to be presented to the Board of Selectmen on the 11th, I believe, Robin, is that correct? So we agreed that we would get together sometime after that to review the budget. So that's going to shorten the length of our meeting tonight somewhat. I sort of realized we've been trying to front load a lot of the reviews this year to try and speed things up. I guess we didn't sort of really realize what challenges that would produce for it. So I fully understand Michael's challenges there. So I think we should give him some breather room to complete that. So that leaves the main agenda item tonight is to review the budget proposals of the Parks and Recreation Commission. Chris, are you going to make the presentation, or you, Mark?
Mark's going to go through it.
Okay.
Yes. Is it okay if I share my screen? I just have a few slides. Is that okay, Cam?
That'd be great.
So thank you for letting us come tonight and present our operating budget. Just a few kind of a quick snapshot of Parks and Rec, and then we'll get into the budget. For those that don't know, our current staff, we have a director, we have an assistant director. Currently, we also have a part-time program assistant. However, that is currently vacant. The position was held, but recently had a resignation in that position, so that's vacant. We have groundskeeper, heavy equipment operators. We have 2 of those, and then we have over 25 seasonal staff. So that's kind of our staffing in the department. Obviously, in terms of all those staff, we also have some certifications, whether it's degrees or certifications with the National Park and Rec Association, with the New England Association, turf management, and playground. So we have a number of certifications that not only our park staff hold, but also the office staff. Just a quick a snapshot. The department, we oversee outdoor maintenance of all town buildings, including the townhouse, Carroll Community Center, protective agencies building, library, Chickering School, Channing Pond, and numerous small islands across the town. In addition, the maintenance and scheduling of all the Carroll Fields, Chickering Fields, Carroll Park tennis courts, and the playground. In total, our department maintains over 20 acres of land under our jurisdiction, and we permitted over 3,500 hours of athletic field use over the last year. Along with the parks, we have programs. Along with the outdoor space, the department plans and executes hundreds of programs that fill thousands of roster spots at over 20 locations for residents of Dover. Simultaneously, the department plans and executes close to a dozen community events throughout the year. So the biggest, I know we submitted in our proposal, our biggest item is that part-time position that we've held and looking to make that a full-time position. So that's the largest increase in the budget. So the commission, as we said, 19 hours a week position. And the commission is looking to move that to a full-time recreation supervisor position. So in a normal year, we fill over 4,000 roster spots across 250 program choices. And we anticipate that to grow even more with the new building. Obviously, we've been in touch with our HR director, and obviously need to go in front of the personnel board as well. But if you can see the chart below, just kind of highlights our program growth since 2011. So in 2011, we added that part-time program assistant position, 19 hours a week. And you can see at that time we had 137 programs. You can see roster spots and community events. 2019 is highlighted just because we feel like that's what our normal year is, right before COVID, and we expect to probably even be higher than that with the new building. Over 252 program options, over 4,000 roster spots, 5 community events. And then I would just highlight it currently, we're reduced just because of space, not having the community center, but we've increased our community events. So we're at 10 right now. We expect to move that close to 11 or 12 in the coming years. So that's one thing to notice. Since 2011, even since 2019, we've increased the number of community events. So if we look at the budget highlights, and part of you'll see this in our narrative, but obviously the biggest increase is with salary. The increase is about 15% due primarily to the request to move that part-time program assistant to full-time staff member. We broke it down a little bit on the bottom here. Full-time salary increased by $86,564. That increase includes $16,219 based on the town salary chart for our current employees. And then just as kind of a placeholder, $70,000 for a full-time position. That's estimated. That would be a grade 2, step 3. Obviously, the personnel board and the HR director will have to classify that position, but we wanted to make sure we at least had a number for our budget. Obviously, the part-time salary would be eliminated. So cost savings of $27,661, and that was just the part-time salary that was allocated or would be allocated for the FY25. And then on the bottom, salary overtime increased per the salary chart in the union contract. Our 2 park staff are union. And then the longevity increased by 2,440. We have just 1 more staff that's qualified for longevity in FY25. Expenses actually decreased by $2,200. And it's just in the past when we were at the Carroll Community Center, the Parks and Rec department paid for our telephone, and that was after talking with Mike Blanchard, he felt confident that would be rolled into a community center budget where each department would not be paying for their own phone. Even though we're on a town system, we were paying for our phone, and he felt like that would be wrapped in. So we took that out of our budget, and that would be wrapped into a community center budget.
Mark, just to clarify, that means it's a negative sign should be there, not a positive, right?
Oh, yes, you're right, Cam. Thank you. Sorry. Yes, a decrease of, 2020. Yes. For a total operating budget of $565,394. And that's, so those are the slides. Obviously, I can answer any questions, or Chris can answer questions if anyone has it, but that's kind of the highlights. And like I said, the main thing is just the part-time position, looking to move that to full-time.
So I have a question, Mark, on what would be the consequences of not making that change, of not adding the full-time supervisor?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, if we don't, it would just mean we would probably have to, not do as many programs, cut back on some community events. It's just with two staff, myself, Nicole, especially now being in so many locations, some we might have to keep just based on size of the community center. So we have to figure that out. But yeah, it would just mean a reduction in some services in terms of community events or programs.
Yeah, and I should add that we had talked about converting that to full-time back in 2019 when we were at that higher mark. And because of, actually, it wasn't even COVID, it was the closing of the community center that, caused us to want to defer that decision until now.
Mhm.
Activity actually, all else equal, increased during COVID. If you recall, Park and Rec kept the summer program going in the summer of 2020. Famously against the recommendation of the Board of Health, but for the children, we kept them in an outdoor program. And so we actually increased a lot of the programming. So now we're a victim of our success in COVID with the increase in outdoor programming. Plus we have to go back to where we were with the indoor programming. And at that, as I said before, even before the increase in outdoor program, we were already thinking about increasing from part-time to full-time on this rec.
Robin, I see you've got your hands raised.
Yeah, would it be okay if I just asked a couple of questions?
Absolutely.
Okay, so having experienced having to present increases to staffing at town meeting, my one recommendation would be to really focus on the incremental cost, which I think is about 35,000. But also, I think what I would like to understand better is it appears that we need this additional person because we're going to increase the number of participants in our programs as well as our programs. So that would mean there's additional fees that are going to come in from your ability to increase programming. And I think you should think about how those additional fees are really going to offset some of this incremental cost. I mean, we never show, because it's municipal accounting, we never show the fees that come in to defray some of the costs for Park and Rec, but I don't know if this would be something that you might want to focus on.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, Robin, and I think you're right. It's another budget. It's really through the revolving account that you see the
Right.
effect of the increase in programming. But you're absolutely right. That gives us the ability to invest more in town programs, to invest more, in upkeep on some of the equipment itself, just like we do with the tennis court. We increase tennis programming, we're able to pay for the tennis surface. So I think it is good for us to have maybe that. I don't know if that would be presented along with this, but I think you're absolutely right. We should reference the opportunity that'll be created by the
Because I
increase in
think,
program.
I think it was the slide before this, Mark, where you showed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would try and because you say in here, in a normal year, we fill over 4,000 roster spots across 250 programs. So I would imagine that you envision increasing the number of roster spots and potentially also the number of programs, and this additional half FTE is going to allow you to do that. So you are increasing one side of the equation, but it's being offset by some of the fees that are coming in.
Great point.
Yeah. You know.
But as I understand it, revolving funds can't be used for personnel costs, correct?
Yeah, they cannot
No.
be used for full-time personnel staff. They can be, we use it for instructors, but yeah, our revolving account cannot be used for full-time just because of statutory guidelines by the state.
Okay, thank
But
you.
it means income is coming in that otherwise wouldn't be available to spend on those other things, and you probably
Right.
need to reduce your
Right.
spend on other
It's not a
things.
direct, you know, it doesn't
Yeah.
reduce the headcount, but you're adding this and you're getting more revenue in, which ultimately is gonna reduce your cost.
And increase benefits to the town, right? Recreation, community activities, you know, all the things that we're here for are going to continue to benefit from that higher, you know, that higher participation.
Right.
Right, I mean, the other thing I would do is just also, you know, we're putting together the website, which is then gonna support all of the asks that we want. I would also highlight what your community events are, because I would think people don't know. I mean, when I think of Park and Rec, you know, I think of Dover Days. That's it. So what are the other 9, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I think that really the key that Robin is hammering home here is that this is a story you have to tell to persuade the town to spend the extra money, and particularly since we have a lot of unanticipated expenses coming up. It would be great to show that hey, it's not quite as big as it seems because of these other sort of direct and indirect savings that you can produce.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. This is spending behind good news. We have to talk about the good news.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, any other questions?
You know, and I think, I know it's not a direct correlation, but without the fees that you bring in, your costs would be a whole lot higher.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, there's plenty. I mean, if we don't, yeah, if, you know, especially towns that don't have a revolving fund, you know, obviously, it's definitely, they would be a lot higher. If we, yeah.
Right, you know, we learned a lot from the DPW's request for additional staffing, and it's what you call the individual, making sure that you can properly articulate exactly what the individual is going to be doing.
Yeah.
Right, and yeah, that's what
Really
we're working with.
important as you, because, you know, as you know, this is gonna be highlighted and questions are gonna be asked.
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna get a stop on this one.
Right, that's what I think, so I'm just trying to think of all the questions that might be asked.
Absolutely.
Anybody
Can I
else?
ask
Any
Can I
questions?
ask just a technical question? It's probably a small amount, but is the $70,000 number just the anticipated salary? Just, you know, with some of that at 19 hours, I think there's a lot of town employees at 19 hours, which I think is purposeful so they don't get benefits. But when they go up 1 extra hour, they get benefits. Any benefits that this person contemplated by that 70,000 number, or is that just the anticipated salary?
Yeah, that's a good question, Steve. Yeah, it's just salary, so that would not, it be included in, of benefits, right?
So any other questions? Then thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming and presenting your case. Much appreciated.
Thank you for the time, and we'll
Thank you.
incorporate some of your comments here. It's been very helpful.
Okay. You're most welcome to stay if you desire, but also if you don't have a burning desire to stay, you're welcome to leave. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for excusing us. Have a good night.
So we burnt through that agenda remarkably quickly tonight because of Michael's absence. there was one thing I did want to raise, and it's more a bureaucratic, administrative thing. Marty and Sarah have been having problems with their new email addresses, and so I'm wondering whether everybody else has managed to get into those accounts and set up those email addresses. We don't really need to discuss that here, but if you could drop me a note if you're having any issues, I'd appreciate it, and then I can forward them on. The other thing I'd appreciate it if you would if you could access the Google Drive, so that I'm trying to build that up as a common repository for everybody to see what documents we're actually working with, and maybe it'll end up being a historical document repository as well. So I'm hoping that we can make some progress there. So if you would let me know, A, whether your email address is working, or sorry, let me know if it's not working, and if you have, or if you have problems with accessing the Google Drive. Okay, the next issue, well, in fact, the next item I have on my agenda is the liaison update. So do we have any liaison updates from people? No. Sarah, I may be treading on your toes here somewhat, but I've arranged to meet with Woody, and I are going to meet with Dan Sickle on I think it's next Monday, the 8th of January, for just have a coffee with him to go through the modalities of what the regional school budget is going to be, and what approaches we have. I mean, the main purpose of this is to ensure that the schools don't sort of do a divide and rule on us, that we actually have the opportunity to work out a joint strategy with the Sherborne folk as well. So if you would like to join us, Sarah, you would be most welcome to do so.
Thank you, Cam. I appreciate that. Is that part of capital budgets meetings, and is that typically?
No. It's just, this is directly with the financial advisory committee of Sherborne, which is at the equivalent of the Warrant committee.
Right.
So basically, it's a Warrant committee to Warrant committee discussion, just to be sure that we've got a good comprehensive understanding of what Sherborne's expectations are, and that we can also express our positions as well.
What time are you meeting?
We haven't. I think it's 2:30. I'll send you the details, and you can decide if you want to come or not. It's at the Charles River Cafe. We're just going to go and have a coffee and have a chat.
Okay.
So it's going to be fairly informal.
It's 2:30 on Monday.
It's 2:30. Great. Yeah.
I would like to attend. I have a procedure that day, and I know I emailed you about that, and then I can likely arrange for alternate bus shepherding, as my twins will be arriving to the driveway at 2:28. That might be a bigger conflict, so I will try and get it covered. I would like to join you, so I'll circle back and let you know.
If you can make it, by all means do, and if not, we can certainly have a decompress on it. I can certainly let you know what we've been discussing.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. And Melissa, I'm not sure, are you able to make it or not? I feel like we're sort of trying to make a whole committee go and meet Dan, which seems a little bit over the top. But you're of course most welcome to join us, given you're the one that was instrumental in setting up the connection in the first place.
Yeah, no, I'll double check and I'll let you know.
Okay. Thank you.
So yeah, Dan's great. He's chaired 2 years in a row, so he's doing it twice. But he definitely cares quite a bit about the shared budget. So good for us to connect.
Yeah. Agreed. Any other business that people have? It'll be another short meeting, it looks like. Wow.
Did you do this in my honor to try and suck me in?
No, we're terrified of you, Robin, so we want to get away as quickly as we can.
Oh, no, nonsense.
Um,
I was expecting to be here till 9.
yeah, I was until Michael put a sort of foot in the plans, but that's okay. The next meeting we've got planned at the moment is for when is it? 1:10, in which we'll probably be meeting the planning board and the cemetery folk and the library folk. This might change if Michael decides he wants to present this coming week, but I think it's probably still too early for him because the budget will only be presented to the Board of Selectmen the day after. So
Right.
it looks like 1:10 will be our next meeting, but I'll confirm.
Cam, I'm the cemetery liaison, but I've talked to them. There's nothing really for them to talk about. So I was going to tell them they don't need to come, but if people want to hear from them, I guess I could change that. But there's nothing to really talk about. It's a fairly much so.
Yeah, if they've got a completely flat budget and haven't got any sort of increases in expenditures or whatever, I think we can accept that. So yeah, that's reasonable.
Okay, we'll have to check, but I think we have DPW next week.
Okay. Anyway, I'll confirm who we've got coming. So anything else we need to discuss? Then I'm very happy to break
The best run
records.
warrant committee meeting ever.
and ask whether I hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Again, I think we can vote with our hands on this one. So all in favor? Those against? I think it's carried. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you next Wednesday.
Great.
Now.